aka NoirVortex, and this is the first thing I thought I'd do as a bit of an experiment. I've not really done this. I've done live streams before, but not done one where I'm live streaming my own content. So basically I thought I'd just do a live stream and stream some art films, music films that I've done in the past. Don't really know if anyone will watch or anything, but I thought it'd be worthwhile doing that, just to sort of curate some of my own material, talk about it if anyone's got any questions. So the sort of order of things is going to be that I'll just talk a little bit, introduce about a piece of work, and then show it, and then some of it will be music, some of it will be film, some of it might be poetry. I'll just mute my phone a second. Don't want that going off all the time. Okay, so first thing I'm going to show is a film I made a while ago called Simpsons Schizophrenia. So it's an improvised electronic music score. It's using clips which you can find online, of course, from a film called Simpsons and Schizophrenia, and it's basically experimental sort of industrial track. So without further ado, first film I'll be showing is this. I'll just show it now, I think. that was Symptoms and Schizophrenia, which is another rescore I did to it. I think, how many years ago did I do that? I think 2015, so that's 5 years ago actually. Jeez. I used Audio Much for that. Okay, so it's quite a skittering, obviously disorientating piece of video art, I guess. So what am I going to show next? I'm going to show now a project I did, which I was never 100% happy with, but which is interesting in some respects. So there was this French philosopher called Guy Debord, who is very well known for being a situationist philosopher. Sort of talked a lot about the society of the spectacle, about society as it was then, and alternatives to the ways to consumer society, I suppose, in a nutshell. But I decided to make, back in 2017, so not so long ago, this short film. So it was very much an exercise in film editing for me, trying to create a sort of like documentary, and it's very much tongue-in-cheek. It's almost satirical, I guess, in some respects. So it takes aspects of Guy Debord's life and sort of makes a sort of comedy out of it in a sense. But yeah, so what do you think of this? This is Ghost of Debord. Accumulates to the point where it becomes image. Je vous prendrai.
le pistolet sur ma tête. Sur ma tête. Je vous prendrai le pistolet sur ma tête. Ici la Shoah est coulée et je suis avec. Spectacle est l'accumulation des capitaux à point où devient l'image. The spectacle is capital, accumulated to the point where it becomes image. Je vais prendre le pistolet sur ma tête. Je suis bourré. Meurtre et le spectacle. Minoir. Chienne. Les passions ont et sous sa féminité interprétée. Il faut maintenant décorer de nouvelles personnes. Production prevail. All of life presents itself as an immense accumulation. Presents itself as an immense Christianity. In societies where modern conditions of production prevail, all of life presents itself as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has moved away into a representation. 2. The images detached from every aspect of life fuse in a common stream in which the unity of this life can no longer be re-established. Reality considered partially unfolds in its own general unity as a pseudo-world apart, an object of mere contemplation. The specialisation of images of the world is completed in the world of the autonomous image, where the liar is lied to himself. The spectacle in general, as a concrete inversion of life, is the autonomous moment of the non-living. 3. The spectacle presents itself simultaneously as all of society, as part of society, and as an instrument of unification. As a part of society, it is specifically the sector which concentrates all gazing and all consciousness, due to the very fact that this separate is the common ground of a deceived gaze and of false consciousness, and the unification that achieves is nothing but an official language of generalised separation. The spectacle is not a collection of images, but a social relation among people mediated by images. The spectacle cannot be understood as an abuse of world vision as a product of the techniques of mass dissemination of images. It is rather a Wolkenstein which has become actual, materially translated. It is a world vision which has become objectified. Je ne l'ai pas tué.
So yeah, that's that. Hopefully the stream's still running. Just got a message on the back end on YouTube to say we have detected some copyrighted like some footage that is from 40 years ago, which isn't wrong. So hopefully it's still even streaming. I thought next, this definitely shouldn't get copyright striked, hopefully. So this next one, so this is going to be, I'm going to be playing a video by some artists I know in London, so it's not all going to be me, that would be a bit narcissistic of me just to play my own stuff. So I figured I'd play this video. It's quite long, it's like just under 15 minutes. It's by two artists known as Mouth and Grassy Knoll, poet, performance poet, and like a musician, in this case I think playing on a synthesizer. This is recorded and it's on the Tunnel channel, so let me just load that up for you. Now this definitely shouldn't get any copyright strikes because it's completely original content by the guys, and I know them, and I'm pretty sure they'd be happy for me to show this. So this should be alright. So this is Mouth of Grassy Knoll, Mouth Whisperer at 100 Years Gallery from I think last year, I think.
ladies and gentlemen. That is our first set. Grassy Knoll, Mouth. Thank you very much. We'll be back in about 15 minutes. Thank you. Speaks crocodile, speaks crocodile, smile, 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 smile. Artistic antenna. Acoustically irrigated. Metamorphosis of morphing masks. Midnight, picky car, char, 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 picky car, picky car, picky car. lady, any lady, pick the lady. Pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, Queen of Hearts. Pick the lady. Pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, Queen of Hearts. Pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, pick the lady, drink. Baboose plays poker with that. Dancer. The last turtle dance in the sea of plastic and violence is out there selling papers. The clown has committed suicide. There's nothing funnier than a psycho in the office. The signature sound, bombs dropping in the background, lots of dead presidents' heads chiseled in the sacred black hills, talking in the bald-headed eagle, the bald-headed eagle, the bald-headed eagle, the bald-headed eagle, the bald-headed eagle flies out over the sea. And all the battles won, just pyrrhic victories, a surreal prism of spin vomited from the screens. Abstract digressionism, the millions living beneath the radar, the time of the goose-stepping resumes, neo-fascists walk the streets of Europe. Tuxedo billionaires talking of colonizing bars, and colonizing bars, and colonizing bars, and bars, and bars, and bars, and bars, Richard Branson, buzzing, Richard Branson. This used to be a public toilet, it used to be a public toilet, it used to be. What's going on? The spinning arm. Find themselves burning around. 1,000 bullets coming down on the head of each perplexed person per minute. Thousands of attempts escaped in the tunnels beneath the streets, kicked often in the underbelly of life. Veteran of austerity, veteran Old Street at the soup kitchen. Silicon. Paradise. Hysterical monster mumbles down silo platitudes in the not-so-White House. Ostracization of the poor of every nation jettison. Ostriches head the contaminated sands of time. The marginalized shut down where they stand. The Sandman awaits for the eyes of the children of the cold. Turn the tourniquet tire, turn the tourniquet tire, turn the tourniquet, turn the tourniquet, turn the tourniquet, turn the tourniquet, turn the tourniquet tire, But the little girl, the little matchstick girl does not die in the snow. Dare to dream of freedom. Grassy Nolan.
Yeah.
Mike Waldo, please. Thank you all for coming.
So that was Grassy Nolan Mouth from last year at 100 Years Gallery recorded that, I think. Oh man, it was such a great performance. I remember that with a lot of fond memories. It was really like sort of like Blade Runner vibes with, you know, like Nolan's like abstract poetry over the top. It was really one of my favourite gigs actually, probably from 100 years of, and I've been to a few. 100 Years Gallery in Hoxton. Okay, so I think next I'm gonna probably play something with a similar sort of feeling. So this is some music I've made with some friends called BB Acid D2. We make sort of like acid electronic ambient music. This is a compilation of well, a jam we did basically, set to some images, just actually mostly of us just hanging out basically, but done in a sort of arty way. We just find the right video and then I'll boot that up so you can watch that if you're watching. Bear with me a minute. There we go. And yeah, this is so BB Acid D2. Well, we're on hiatus at the minute, but probably hopefully make some more music at some point in the future. Anyway, BB Acid D2, and this is called Sonic Escape. So that was BB Acid D2 with an extended jam. The recording was a bit raw on that one actually. I think we basically recorded on a mobile phone from what I remember. It's just me, Martin and I think Sketty as well, jamming as BB Acid D2. Our other stuff's a lot more acid based than that actually. That's very ambient-y sort of jam, I guess. It turned out that way anyway. Okay, so I think I'll do this for a bit longer. Next video I'll play is some it's like a poetry film I made called Ivory Tower Dreamtone. Now hopefully, fingers crossed, because it contains some internet archive footage, it's not going to get any copyright strikes or anything, but there is a possibility that could happen, so if it goes off suddenly, that's why. But yeah, this is basically like I describe it as like a collage film, so it's collaging very many elements of what my creative output. Like it's got drawings, digital manipulations, video, poetry. Obviously there's like the whole thing is a poetry collection basically. I made a CD of it as well actually back in the day, of which I gave out to a few peeps. But yeah, it's called Ivory Tower Dreamtone. The sort of idea around it is sort of around, I guess, like spiritual meaning, nihilism as well to some degree, a feeling of that. A lot of technological based poems as well, sort of exploring technology and our relationship to technology, which is current recurring theme in my work, I guess. But anyway, this is Ivory Tower Dreamtone. It's about 12, just under 12 minutes long. Then after this I'll play some of my Broken God music, I think. Anyway, this is Ivory Tower Dream.
Manic Miner. Mania of mind ripping up totems of casual belief that lie between your so-called sane and insane, tripping balls and laughing at dandelions to strip away the pain. Dancing in empty rooms to songs which have not yet been written, tomorrow's tornado tune without author in time and space in 11 dimensions. String theory. Let me elaborate. Let there be little debate. Remember, we are everything in one, like number 8, loop thing. How long is a piece of string, you ask? Fractal-like chaos dominates my mind. Can feel the atoms below my feet and stars above. They suck at the corners of my savoury cheese brain. Slurp, that's the sound of grey matter. It expands, contracts, and whizzes at full speed towards a destination not yet imagined. You who go where no one else will dare. You who dive within, with deep breath. I'm Buddha. I'm Jesus. I'm the Godchild. I'm God. Crashing, hurling, and speeding up towards the terrible finale. A spark fires in this forest of disaster, and watch them burn in crimson reds as I dance to the tune of madness itself. Pure, spiritual ecstasy of soul. I'm the Manic Miner, trust me, I'm the Manic Miner. Turn into a machine, dive down and bomb these automatons. Boom! 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 Manic Miner, dig into tunnels of the Tao and the Yin Yang at the break period. Tuneless dance of the ages, and God amongst men. Moving too fast. Walking along that same old alley, acquiring thoughts which drive me doolally. Mind far too fast, mental philosophies, trying to discern ingrained hypocrisies. That's true, that's false, daydream of the self, the self, the self. Some see beauty, others see madness. Eye of the beholder, there you'll find God. A wind-swept storm on a cold winter's night, which of course is a metaphor for my internal fright. Moving too fast, others too slow. I've seen the light, the light, the light. The lights. The lights. Geometry of being, MathMind, connection zone, cellular warp drive, set to 9, blast off to the super post-human ninja zone. Exhale and inhale dualities that meet at the point where reality ceases to be, then begins again, sending Earth to heaven, conception of Zion and the human mind. It's time, ascend, descend, evolve. Love, love, and love. Supercomputer virus, mental mind frames me with consciousness breakthroughs. A matrix of matter, spiritual kingdoms, the birth agony of Venus, the birth agony of child, the birth cry of always. The meeting points of atom and star, Zion rising. Serpent gods clap and sing, the din of ecstasy uncurled, singing, we're free to chase our tails.
This poem is a blasphemy, sinking low into the plateau of seismic suggestion, subconscious machine, bellyaches and rise, French kiss, long time, frog's kiss, slow time, consumed by machines, sexual mechanics, in, out, 1 and 0, above, below, down, up. This poem is a blasphemy, spread it on the fire, eat for breakfast and forget about it. It never blinks. I never blink. I am a beast, blackened with sin. My heart burns and my cock also twice a night. I divulge ecstasy and control demands to leave my voice to reason. Technology and I have become one. My machine mainframe mind is powerful, and my heart burns with a fire that cannot cease. My tri-eyes burn in my head, circling endlessly. A solar vortex of winds of snow, confounded on contradiction. I beat out the tune of self-indulgence and smile, in union of light and night. I breathe deeply and then exhaling, release my jihadism, release my jihadism, release my jihadism, my 1,000 blasphemies. I revel in them, not as the weakness that dither and wither in dank homes praying for death. The bombastic sound of Stravinsky exploding delicately in my head, the drum beat tribal-like calls from some unknown beyond horizon, unconscious place, calls me to stand and be counted in this world, In reality I stare at blank monitors silently, and screaming at static sea, my reptile eye, it never blinks, but once it does.
In the realms of dead desires and dreams they sit, thrones framed by 1,000 red rusty typewriters and rooms blacker than tumours. They spit command lines into the operating system. Delete D-drive dreams and desires. Enter pressed. Dead. Dry eyes scan the inner zone, the grey attack quadrant, to analyse and destroy men's dreams. This logical analysis leading to finality. Splinter the dream atom, file the nightmare. Quantum bureaucracy, absurd, cadaver, ministry, filled with wily, smiley, skeletons, mad cracked regimented bastards, techno monstrosities, reach to your temple, rise and then fall faster than gravity allows.
New flesh, cyber succubus. They gather round in a huddled corner with metallic sheen, gleaming their caged up skeleton skin. Eyes that speak of sucking and fucking the world they lead you in. Designed for one infernal purpose,
Their consciousness created as vessel a frustrated cock. New Model 2.0 form, the new fetish is manifest. Cybernetic fuck puppets of the neon light. Red desire zones, demonic dance under dim lights leads him to the edge of unreason. Grinning with LED eyes, projecting dangerous desires. Grabbing manufactured hair while penis slips in. Some kind of mad Medusa screaming with obscene clarity. Some modern banshee, screeching and grinding gears of robotic genitals. Organic twin of a machine in an unholy marriage. Birthed by succubus screams, as both enjoy the madness of desire gone full blast. Hers is programmed, his internal biorhythm, following some primitive desire, searching for some new flesh to dwell within, some new experience to drown in. Both their minds are tuned to static.
Stargazer. I look up through pinhole eyes to the sky and dream of worlds, and in my own mind, reflecting on thoughts large and trivial, wondering among mind bubbles the birth and death of the universe, what I do tomorrow, the next 5 minutes. When was the last time I truly felt real? Is there a formula for multiverse? The star siren calls me to have another cigarette, then regret the cigarette I had just wanting to give up, to afford me the chance to glance at the saintly majesty of cosmos, to free me from the bars on my earthly home and from imagination and nothing else. Some days I want to fly away and escape, just escape, another world, another place, jettison the command module into deeper space, but then think of all the love I have in this place and catch myself. Take myself off of feeling such vague emotions, such mental doom. I'm suckered into this same spot. All thoughts correlate and mingle here, like some mind-spear collection point. Stargazer, I stargazer. I'll scream it at the top of lungs and I'm proud of it. Dreams should never die. The world could do with more stargazers staring high into the sky. To make this world a better place, we've got to begin here, that's true, but realise we all came from the same place, a cosmic bond that will never break us or judge. So stare with sky into sky with wild, bewitched eyes. Project the world you want to be. Make the heaven real.
So that's that. That's the film Ivory Tower Dream Tones, which is something I made back in, I think it was like 5 years ago now. So it was 8 poems set to images, sort of like a poetry film, I guess. So I think, just to finish off, and I'll make this the last one, I think. I was going to play one of my music tracks, Broken God, but I've already played quite a lot of music, so I thought I'd play the Tunnel Manifesto film, which is a film I edited and sort of, well, not sort of, I literally was a presenter for it, I guess, and was the main voice on it. So I'm quite proud of the editing job I've done. This is one of my favourite pieces of editing I've done. It uses, again, public domain film, so hopefully there shouldn't be any copyright issues or striking, but well, you really never know sometimes, to be honest, with YouTube. But anyway, without further ado, this is Tunnel Art Manifesto. So it's a manifesto of art by the Tunnel Group, who I'm a member of. A lot of ideas in there, but it's sort of, you'll get the gist of it, I guess, by watching the film. So I'll say a little bit after this, but this is about 24 minutes long. Enjoy. It's, again, sort of interestingly, we had De Boer on before, and sort of Tunnel were very influenced by the Situationists, and that probably shows in the editing style. It's very similar to some of De Boer's pieces. But anyway, I'll shush now and just play the video.
Evolution and the new ecology. From the perspective of geological time, humanity is still in the midst of its origin story. For over 100 millennia, as we have fought through catastrophe and war, through predation and disease, through nightmare and genocide, to find ourselves the most dominant species on Earth, but it is a Pyrrhic victory. Humans are not destroying nature as much as replacing it. Just as the early elements of the cosmos were created in the hearts of stars, humanity's roles in evolutionary history seems to create and synthesize new arrangements and forms of matter that have never before existed. Our exponential growth over the last few centuries, in which we turned the ancient starlet of hydrocarbons into more and more minds and machines, has irreversibly transformed the natural world. It is only as we wake that we realise the full extent of what we have done to the world. Even as we try to salvage what remains of nature, through conservation, de-extinction and geoengineering, we replace another part of it, a process that will end in its complete displacement. Eventually, in the coming centuries and millennia, few remnants of the old ecology, non-human wilderness, will remain untouched by the new ecology. There is no going back to the garden. We stand now in the ruins of the old ecology, the dying world of our cultural childhood, and forward through radio telescopes and particle accelerators a future that is still to take form. The growth of secular scientific ideologies exposed a world in which our entire existence is on a pale blue dot, adrift in an ocean of infinity. Instances of an incomprehensible stew of energy and matter devoid of moral truths. That we spiral through a dead cosmos, devoid of inherent meaning, with our very being reduced to the briefest instant of consciousness between two eternities of oblivion. In his last television interview, Heidegger said that only a god can save us now. Typical of his cryptic poetry, Heidegger is not literally meaning that a god is required, but rather a new unifying idea that will save us from technologically enabled nihilism. A new paradigm that will endow the world again with meaning. A new story. Our species that survived at least one supervolcano, armed with no more than Stone Age tools. Whatever future awaits us, or not, this is not the end. It is merely the end, the beginning. Only now, on the verge of this epochal winter, do we stop to breathe to look at our epic journey from primates to gods, and attempt to take stock of where we are going next. The story of our next 100 years is yet to be written, has yet to be told, but who will get to write it? For the story we tell ourselves now will change forever who we are to become. The engines of culture. throughout this time we've used art, that primordial information technology and storytelling, to make sense of and survive in a hostile and awesome cosmos. Human use of symbolic communication may go back as far as 300,000 years, with language probably being a latecomer about 80,000 years ago, and writing a pop of 5,000 or so years. The inner states initially communicated may have been emotional states as the sound of the subconscious, a language using the symbolic vocabulary of the artist, a language of forms externalizing an internal vision, a filtering experience. Since at least the Stone Age, art has been used as a tool of propaganda, at first for tribal and warrior elites, later as that for commerce, today in the realm of the contemporary avant-garde, as propaganda for the ego of the artist. This has seeped into popular culture in the form of social media, which are tools of ego propaganda for the masses. The artist can simply be occupying a space in time and attempting to create structure for the inanimate objects within a given room. Like a prisoner standing in a cell for the first time, he or she is only aware of the objects within that space: a table, chair, toilet, and wash basin. This is how the prisoner calculates time. The mirror, if available, is the first preparation for escape, or quite simply, the movement from one level of awareness to the next. The navigation of symbolic jungles.
Nothing can separate us.
The artist as mirror. Most artists are involved in a constant re-evaluation of their value and perception at all times, through the creation of works and the mysterious and magical process of creation itself. As artists, we must catch up with the developments and progress of the 21st century and steer the world towards a more creative, ecological and open vision. Modernism in the 20th century bred triumphs of human creativity and ingenuity, but also many disasters. What then have we learned? Each artist must find their method, whether it be the portrait or video, the painting or glitch art, to maintain the chaos at the heart of their ideas within a controllable, malleable framework. The methods must be determined by the artists themselves. It will come from nowhere else. Artists must synthesize masculine and feminine perspectives to generate the wider perspective required by the challenges of this new century, by rejecting codified and sanctified hierarchical notions of gender. Artists must gaze deeply and honestly into themselves so as to overcome the guilt, shame and anxiety that comes from being aware of the complexities of human nature, transforming those negative states into art. Overcoming repressive worldviews and constructs is the first challenge to seeing possibilities for a better world to manifest. To admit our flaws and to transcend them into a world of meaningful connections, the ultimate trip to the other side, our authentic selves on the other side of the mirror. The unification of science, spirit, and art. Order and chaos. All cultures throughout human history have made sense of the world in terms of order and chaos. To the ancient Egyptians, order was personified in Ra and maintained by the pharaoh via Ma'at. Eternal laws that it followed correctly ensured both social and cosmic stability. His rival was the chaos god Apophysis, the underworld serpent who brought to bring about complete chaos and destruction of the state. In Hindu thought, it is Vishnu that represents order and structure of religion, and Shiva who represents destruction and chaos, manifest in his cosmic dance in the Natad Raj that signals eternal cycles of creation and destruction. In Greek religion it was Eris, goddess of discord, whose golden apple was started a chain of events that brought down Troy and Messenia, the deep cultural memory of the very real world of the end event, the Bronze Age collapse. Today, extreme order is signified in the vision of techno-priests whose dream of completely ordered societies and smart megacities. Its conception of chaos, the black swan, the butterfly effect. Science finds, industry applies, man conforms. Slogan of the 1933 Chicago World Fair, the same year the Nazis came to power. Our critique must go beyond that of just neoliberalism, but to any ordered, hierarchical and crystallised structure that takes too extreme a form. Extreme order is insufferable and dystopic. Likewise, our goal should not be to induce chaos and hope that whatever emerges from the forest fire will be more palatable, but rather to find ordered balance between the two. Capitalism, downfall. Last words of Christopher Hitchens. Reason. Newton, according to John Maynard Keynes, was not the first of the age of reason, he was the last of the magicians. For though his stirrings can be seen with the evolution first of language, and then of writing, authentically. Honesty. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Carl Jung. The individual mind generates contradictions. Our nature as thinking and feeling beings means that when the two sides of ourselves, expressed in different cultures as white, black, good, evil, yin, yang, up, down, are in constant flux and conflict with each other, while the will asserts itself to maintain order. Diversity. Today we see the fetishization of the most superficial forms of diversity that pushes us towards intellectual conformity. Universities sink towards the heat death of homogeneity. Unity. Since the first cities evolved, we've attempted to unify diverse groups under larger and larger structures, using arms and information technology. This was the goal of Hammurabi, king of Babylon, who carved in granite laws meant to supersede the multitude of tribal customs in this, the world's first seething, multicultural, multi-ethnic metropolis. Of Cyrus the Great and his unending quest to sealing peace through a multinational, multi-ethnic empire. The error was to seek unity at the edge of a sword, sowing the fields of division for future generations. The metaphor of empire is that it seeks unity in the ever-unfolding, ever-evolving world of the mind. It is the mania that still motivates fanatics of every shade, who seek unity in homogeneity. Our true unity lies beneath the flux of concepts and of ideas, to a shared humanity that lurks in our shared undermine. A sense of awe at an eternal cosmos touched by the divine, whose empirical substance we seek through the mechanisms of science and the cryptic language of theology. The Sufi, the Sivite and the secularist glimpse the same divinity when their ego dies. Hope. Amongst the divisive illusions that we are, anything other than an evolving overlapping network of genes and memes, eternally unfolding through time. Whatever we crystallise into in the coming eons, we must remember, humanity is still in the midst of its origin story. We can change how this story ends. Goals. Cultivate a culture that has a less parasitic and more symbiotic relationship with the natural world, an optimal balance between human survival and human contentment. To utilise non-traditional spaces as platforms for ideas, to exist outside of the accepted gallery system. Cultivate a new culture. Cultivate a culture that has a less parasitic and more symbiotic relationship with the natural world, an optimal balance between human survival and human contentment, to utilise non-traditional spaces as platforms for ideas, to exist outside of the accepted gallery system, to promote and actively engage in the disruption of traditional conceptions of public and private space, to bring art to the public sphere, to create ideas for new forms of museums based around generating meaningful collaborative incoherence, to create visionary landscapes of the mind made real, to reveal the active subconscious and translate them into concrete reality, be it via virtual reality and augmented reality, film, painting, poetry, sound, multimedia and live performance. Strive for new media, strive for new forms of representations of complexity and search for novelty in everything. Long live the new flesh, an anarchistic approach to emerging technology. Use technology to create new aesthetic experiences in culture. Induce visionary states to forge a connection to our collective divinity. Our birthright and responsibility is to make the world better by becoming masters of the digital world, forging new digital ecosystems that will smash the existing paradigms of commerce and greed. Become the ideal of the artist-engineer, utilising his tools to become a feedback loop in symbiosis with his tools. Break and hack internet platforms and emerging VR technologies to gather these new technological fields into the culture of the visionary and the romantic and radical spirit we wish to cultivate. We do not forgive, we do not forget. Some dude, somewhere, I forget who. Generate novelty in all networks. Use emerging technology in line with the tools of old to create new novelty in culture. Uproot the gatekeepers via subversion and satire. Wear the mask of power in order to undermine it from within. The trickster holds the court. Science, humanity, story. The gate to the culture must be overcome. The world on the beach of the sand between 1,000 Christ walking on the water. Come subversive artist engineers for hacking reality, and exposing hypocrisy, existing. Not on the beach of the sand, chaos, opportunity, chaos, opportunity. Learn subversive artist engineers for hacking role, and exposing hypocrisy, existing power structures. Chaos, opportunity, chaos, opportunity. Learn, process, evolve, repeat. Science, humanity, story. The gate to the culture must be overcome. The world on the beach of the sand between 1,000 Christ walking on the water. Come subversive artist engineers for hacking reality, and exposing hypocrisy, existing power structures. Chaos, opportunity, chaos, opportunity. Must learn, process on the beach of the sand between 1,000 Christ walking on the water. Come subversive artist engineers for hacking reality, and exposing hypocrisy, existing power structures. Chaos, opportunity, chaos, opportunity. Learn, process, evolve. Humanity story. The gate to the culture must be overcome. The world on the beach of the sand between 1,000 Christ walking on the water. Come subversive artist engineers for hacking reality, and exposing hypocrisy, existing power structures. Chaos, opportunity, chaos, opportunity. Learn, process, evolve. Orbit, Cesar, Nel, jest niż to zlej, dobra, jest niż to zlej, jest kochanie dziewczyny, jest dla mnie kapsy, jest to wyzywam. To mówią, self confidence, nas liczy, może było no to robić personalnie, że nie tak właśnie mówią, to sobie artystyczne jest pachnie, ale się nie chodzi, chodzi, chodzi. Chaos, opportunity, learn, process, evolve, repeat. Slogans. Humanity needs a new story. The gatekeepers of culture must be overcome. To walk along the beach and feel the sand between one toes and feel like Christ walking upon the water. Become subversive artistic engineers by hacking reality and exposing the hypocrisy of existing power structures. Chaos equals opportunity divided by chaos equals opportunity. Learn, process, evolve, repeat. Slogans. Humanity needs a new story. The gatekeepers of culture must be overcome. To walk along the beach and feel the sand between one toes and feel like Christ walking upon the water. Become subversive artistic engineers by hacking reality and exposing the hypocrisy of existing power structures. Chaos equals opportunity divided by chaos equals opportunity. Learn, process, evolve, repeat.
Okay, so that was the Tunnel Manifesto, and that's the last video of this live stream I've done. So it's been a bit of an experiment, obviously, for me. Hopefully it will be fine in terms of being preserved, because I did get some messages about copyright, as always, on YouTube, which is a pain. I mean, literally everything on there was either remixed or changed beyond all belief, but I don't know, probably like 2 seconds of a Stravinsky song or something like that probably triggered it. But anyway, I shan't rant and rave about copyright too much. If you watched, thanks for watching. I hope that's given a decent introduction to some of my work, some of my friends' work, some of the Tunnel's work, and that. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm NoirVortex, this is my channel. Real name's Chris Godber. Artwork stuff is on chrisgodberart.co.uk if you want to see any of my own work. Tunnel website's on tunnel.london, and I'm going to stop promoting shit now. Thank you for watching if you watched.